Conversations about race can make people uncomfortable, but earlier this month, members of Congress created a bipartisan group to address racial profiling, gun violence, and the relationship between police officers and the black community. They're looking for solutions in the aftermath of several high-profile shootings. Last week, I talked to Representative Keith Ellison about being part of this group in Congress and what he thinks can make things better.
On the issue of race, our whole country needs to engage in this conversation. And it won't hurt us. It might make us feel uncomfortable, but it won't hurt us.
So what can be done with police officers who maybe really should not be police officers?
The one thing I want to start with is acknowledging that if you put that badge on and you are entrusted with this public safety and you've sworn to risk your life to protect the public, then we need to create institutions within policing such that those brave souls will rout people out who shouldn't carry that honor. And unfortunately now, I think that it's not easy for officers to say, my colleague is a problem. But we've got to figure out a way to set up an environment where officers, like the 99% that are doing a great job, or whatever percent, I don't know what percent, but I know most do a great job, can somehow police themselves.
What can be done to sort of provide either not just better training, but better screening before people ever become police officers?
We do need to screen better. And we also need to look at what police really do every day. I know several officers who've never drawn their gun, ever, and they were patrol officers. And then officers draw their gun all the time. What's going on with the ones that think that the way to solve a problem is with the gun? Now, this goes to de-escalation training and unconscious bias. And we need to train people on unconscious bias. I know people who would swear up and down that they have not one racist bone in their body, and yet if you test them for unconscious bias, you find that they actually have a lot of ideas in their head about who's dangerous, who's not. The truth is, police do a lot of what really is social work. And I think we need to do a lot more training around personal relations, how people engage each other, poverty. And we make sure the officer knows how to fire their weapon and use their baton, but do we really engage officers on how do you de-escalate a conflict situation? How do you deal with somebody with mental health problems?
There have been a lot of discussions about black parents talking to their kids. Should white parents be talking to their kids about these race issues and police issues?
I think white parents should absolutely talk to their kids. As a matter of statistics, more white people are killed in officer-involved shootings than black people are. That is just a fact. So I think white parents, all parents, should instruct their kids on how to engage law enforcement.
Congressman Ellison will be in Philadelphia for the Democratic National Convention this week. He is one of Minnesota's superdelegates.